Hi, this is Bill Griffiths, Briefing Demonstration Manager here in the ABC, and I'm here to show you a little bit of the setup for the 4G demo that you'll be doing for some consumer tours and other tours here in the Briefing Center. So I have a laptop before me. If we were down in the rotunda, this would be on stanchion 6. We'll have a map for you so you'll know where everything is. And you'll be projecting this probably on screens 1 through 3 and 10 through 12. We'll do a little bit of a walkthrough later. Right now I'm going to focus on how to set up the laptop before the demo. Go ahead and either look at me or look at what I'm projecting on the screen behind me so you can see what I do, and then you should be able to replicate it later on. This should mirror the demonstration document that you've probably received as well. Okay? So first thing that we're going to do is go to the Sprint Smart View client and open that up. We need to connect to 4G. The way to do that once the application is open is to go ahead and click on the Connect button. You can see right here. It can take anywhere between 15 to 20 seconds for it to authenticate. It'll obtain an IP address, and then we should be ready to go and have our connection to the network. You can see we've got it right here, and we are connected. Great. So the first application that we'll probably want to connect to is the Sling Player client. You can see it's right down here. I'll double click on it to open it. It should be set to go to an HD Sling Player, and it should be set to channel 355. That's CNBC. We actually like using that channel because there are several little crawls at the bottom of the screen, and those are actually more difficult from a data perspective, which keeps our bandwidth required higher, which is something that we're trying to demonstrate with 4G. It'll take just a second to connect, so we'll let that do that. In the background, you see this McAfee security scan came up. Just go ahead and hit Remind Me Later, and it shouldn't bother you for the rest of the day. So you can see we've got the Sling Player, and I like to position this so that it is right below where it says connected to Sprint 4G, just so if people refer to that, they can be reminded that it's 4G. And you'll see down here that it's pulling down quite a bit of bandwidth. We'll get into this with the actual flow of the demo. This is just for setup purposes. Okay? And I'll just resize this so that we can have as much room for the other things as well. Okay? Next thing we'll want to pull up is probably a web browser. So we'll go ahead and do Internet Explorer since I don't see my Firefox on here. You can choose whichever one you want to do. I'm going to minimize these other things and we'll bring them back a little bit later. Go ahead and hit Ask Me Later. First thing we're going to want to pull up is hulu.com. It should all be pre-programmed, so if you go into the address bar and start typing the first couple of letters, you can see it. So we can actually go down here and go to Hulu The Office. We'll click on that. It should connect us through, and that should just be a splash page for the entire show. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is resize this window now, because what I'm going to want to do is place it very specifically in the upper left-hand corner. You'll see the reason for this in just a little bit. Once I have it up here, I'm going to pull these other windows up so that you can see where I need to size the windows. I need to probably bring this over a little bit more. We're trying to use up as much of the desktop area as possible. And then I'll go down here and have it set so that during the demo I can just click on one of these episodes to go ahead and start it. Okay? Another thing that we're going to want to do is set up our livecast player, and that is actually hidden right now. Where did I put it? The TriMet Cam, Intel TriMet Cam. So we're going to double click on that and it's going to open up a new window for us. Now this application, when you first open it up, can take a little bit of time to load, and it's going to suck a lot of resources out of the computer, so it may be difficult for you to move the window around, or it may be difficult for you to open other things. Don't worry about that. Once the map background appears here, you're ready to go. Okay, so we should be ready right now. I'm going to pull this down into the lower left-hand corner right here, and I'm just going to do a basic resizing. I'm going to pull my Hulu window back up so I can see how to fine-tune it. Just like that, looks perfect. Okay? Minimize these one more time because we're going to open up a couple more windows. Last one from a content perspective is actually the Live View Axis camera. This is a camera that's being used by the Oak Ridge Police Department to monitor areas of high crime. And you'll see the login and password. It should be pre-populated, so you won't have to worry about that. And we'll log in. I'm going to put this in the lower right-hand corner down here. It'll take this one a couple of seconds to load as well. You just pull this down. I'm going to tuck this right under the bandwidth for Sling Player so people will still be able to see that. And I think it's loading in the background. All good things must come to an end. That's interesting. Never seen that before. We'll get that taken care of. It's going to be something where it's just going to load up the live view camera. Looks like it might actually be doing it this time. If it doesn't, we'll have it fixed when you're doing your demos, don't worry. If it does ever give you a problem when you're setting up beforehand, just skip this part. It's really not essential. So we'll do that right now because it appears not to be working. And we'll go ahead and open our last window, which is going to be our download speed test, and that's from speakeasy.net. Again, just go to the address bar, start typing Speakeasy, select the one that says /speedtest, and it should load it right up. Okay, there we have it. Now, we'll pull this down a little bit, and later when you do the demo, we'll show you which one to click on. Last thing is the final view, what it's supposed to look like when you are getting ready to actually show this to a tour. This is what your final product should look like when it's all the way up on there. And then the last thing you do before you bring customers, or excuse me, before you bring tour guests in, is hit this Show Desktop button to clear everything out. Okay, there you have it.
All right, that's a wrap.